Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. The White Jade Mountain was located in the ruins, the white walls dazzling, sparkling and translucent. The millions of ancient characters flickered about like stars, sparkling with brilliance. Shahao and the others had already gotten onto the mountain peak, because they all yearned for the 108 ancient characters, understanding that they possessed supernatural and immeasurable power, all of them wishing to obtain them. Unfortunately, it was just as Fourth Elder said. The mountaintop was missing a section, the cut extremely smooth, as if it was removed by someone with an exceptionally sharp weapon. This was something that happened back in Immortal Ancient. There was no way they could trace it back upstream, too difficult to know what it was that was lost, making one wring their hands and sigh, feel great regret. You all don't need to feel too regretful either. There are some immortal caves in the 9 heavens 10 earths that have not been opened up yet. Perhaps the day will come when you all are powerful enough. When you all cultivate even stronger immortal Tao energy, you can explore them and find those ultimate immortal texts. Fourth Elder said. Everyone felt hope rise up within them. After all, they were just characters, so this Jade Mountain was definitely not the only place where they were recorded, should be other places. There was no way they would look down on these characters. When cultivated to the extreme, any character became a weapon, all divine abilities, especially the final 108 characters, all of them carrying the essence of Immortal Ancient, and even more so a type of accumulation of civilization and inheritances. Woo, alright, do not be overambitious, it is still best if you all start from the most basic characters. You all can start your study and comprehension with them. If you ever reach any point of confusion, come and ask me for guidance. Fourth Elder said. At the same time, he also told others that this White Jade Mountain was refined by him and another elder, containing some of their spiritual imprints that could help trigger insights and assist in their comprehension. Everyone became excited when they heard this, all of them nodding and starting to study them. At first, they thought that it would be quite easy. After all, they all had strength at the heavenly deity level, so when their primordial spirits swept out, they pretty much remembered everything. However, as they comprehended the method, as time went on, they all began to frown. These were not only characters of a language, but even more so great Tao fragments that contained true meaning. What was the most complex thing in this world? It was naturally the Tao that was hardest to explain, most difficult to explain, shapeless and formless. Meanwhile, these characters were a medium of the Tao, a tangible path for the innate great Tao, a type of comparatively more accurate representation. Once one grasped these types of characters, one would naturally grasp much of the nature of this world, bringing tremendous benefits towards one's cultivation. Good stuff. Have to grasp it. Shahao said. The great Tao could be displayed through bone texts, and it could also be written using this type of characters. If the two were compared, the benefits would be tremendous. While everyone was comprehending the method, a loud noise sounded. A young cultivator who cultivated immortal energy coughed out blood, his entire body flying out from the White Jade Mountain. Everyone was shocked. While he was studying the ancient character, a monster flew out, treading on flames, its raised head roaring, horns splitting the heavens. That person was injured precisely because of this. It was just some ancient character, yet when comprehending it, there was this type of result, truly shocking. Of course, this was also the result of him not fully understanding it, and then trying to access the spiritual imprints left behind by the elders. The characters immediately erupted with their greatest power, sending him flying. Everyone was astonished. If a single character already possessed this type of power when used properly, what if millions of ancient characters were overlaid on top of each other and used then? Just how terrifying would that be? At the same time, everyone realized that even though this White Mountain was sealed by the elders' spiritual imprint, assisting in their comprehension, it still carried dangers. They might have even been purposely left behind to serve as some type of trial. Time passed. In a flash, several days passed, all of them receiving benefits. That day, another tremendous noise sounded. In front of Lutuor, several thousand ancient characters spun about, shining as they surrounded him. Eventually, they turned into 10 heavenly dragons that wound about him, about to tear him apart. Not simple, already understanding how to adaptively use them. However, he is still taking risks, placing himself in danger. Fourth Elder said. Lutuor already comprehended several thousand ancient characters. This really was a magnificent feat, within such a short amount of time. He carved the ancient characters and arranged them, at the same time triggered the imprints left behind by the elder, thus producing an irregular scene, summoning 10 heavenly dragons formed from characters. In the end, the 10 heavenly dragons all split apart, torn apart by Lutuor's body. Blood dyed the skies, but in the end, they turned into light, condensing into symbols. Lutuor's body staggered, face red, but he calmed down again soon afterwards. Many people sighed. Supreme beings with 3 strands of immortal energy were formidable after all, difficult for others to compare to, ridiculously powerful. What does this count as? Nothing more than the most basic symbols. If I grasp millions of symbols, then at that time, after further derivation and arrangement of all types of Tao laws, only then will the power be fully displayed. Lutuor said softly. Everyone was left speechless. Lutuor was merely at the heavenly deity realm, yet already had this type of performance. This could be considered exceptional. An expanse of plants appeared where Wangxi was, every single stalk golden and brilliant as if cast from gold. They were rooted in the void, releasing 10,000 wisps of silk towards her, condensing into divine chains of order to trap and kill her. It was clear that this was also formed from several thousand characters, producing this dangerous situation. Wangxi's appearance was extremely beautiful. Right now, her beautiful hair reached her waist, delicate body swaying about. She was suffering great pressure. In the end, 3 strands of immortal energy rushed out from the crown of her head, igniting the golden ancient trees, thus returning peace to this place. There were many people studying ancient characters here, all of them encountering different issues. This was especially the case when stars directly appeared where exiled immortal was. Then, an expanse of ancient cosmos appeared, smashing downwards, covering him beneath. That place was extremely mysterious, chaotic energy swirling about. The embryonic form of the cosmos was taking form, rising and falling. This youngster really is extremely formidable. Could he be that senior's disciple? Didn't that person die several hundreds of thousands of years ago? Light erupted in 4th Elder's eyes, feeling extremely shocked. Wu, is this the immortal seed produced by the suppression of several thousand ancient characters? 4th Elder said to himself. The others were also surprised. Everything in that expanse of cosmos surroundings split apart. The others looked in that direction, not snapping out of their daze for a long time. Only when 10 Crown King held a small tree, releasing wisps of chaotic energy, tens of thousands of streaks of Tao light crazily sweeping out. Already comprehending who knew how many ancient characters, did everyone wake up. World Tree Sapling. 4th Elder was greatly alarmed. Even though he had long been aware, right now, he was still moved. 10 Crown King couldn't hide it, because the elders already became aware of it when he entered the academy. The little tree, an unmatched immortal Tao treasure, couldn't be hidden even if he tried. That was why when he was cultivating now, he didn't hide it, his cultivation fast and method comprehension accurate. Meanwhile, in another direction, a beautiful and moving white-clothed beauty, who was like the lunar goddess, was the most exceptional. As her comprehension silently progressed, a green moon appeared above her head. Wherever the green moon went, all of the ancient characters shone, flying towards Qingyi, entering her body, allowing her to comprehend them. Everyone immediately became stupefied. What was going on? It was just too shocking. No one expected Qingyi to have comprehended the most ancient characters out of everyone here. Even Shihao, Mo Dao, and the others couldn't compare to her. She comprehended over 10,000 ancient characters. What kind of background does that green moon have? Everyone was astonished. It seemed to recognize all of the ancient characters. Wherever the moon went, the characters on the jade walls would be read. Flame seed left behind after a true immortal died, also the unique ancient flame in the eyes of those in the present world. Why has it remained by her side, not leaving this entire time? 4th Elder was even more shocked. Then, he looked towards 10 Crown King's little tree. Since it's appeared, then I should speak a bit. 4th Elder sighed, his expression solemn and grave. He transmitted sound to everyone, saying, the path you all have chosen, cultivating ancient methods, there are some basic things that must be explained. When everyone heard this, they all listened with rapt attention. Choosing to cultivate the ancient method has one condition, which is that you all must select an immortal seed to evolve with oneself. The more extraordinary the immortal seed, the greater one's achievements would become. 4th Elder said. Everyone turned around one after the other, looking towards 10 Crown King's little tree that was wrapped in immortal energy. They were aware of the matter with immortal seeds, so they naturally heard about the hidden rumors of the world tree sapling. That was definitely an exceptional immortal seed. At the same time, they were all quite curious towards Qingyi's green lunar flame as well. Could it be that the true immortal of the past might revive? The best immortal seeds are naturally the world tree, embryonic form of the cosmos, and others. However, these are things that can be stumbled upon, but not sought after, not even long-life beings necessarily able to obtain them for their descendants. Fourth elder said with a sigh. In that instant, everyone felt great jealousy and envy towards 10 Crown King. In a bit, I will bring you all to look for your own immortal seeds. Fourth elder said. Are there world trees, cosmos seeds? Someone asked. There are countless wondrous things in this world. There will always be many things we do not know about. It isn't impossible even for something comparable to the world tree, initial cosmos. Fourth elder said, giving everyone hope. Where can we find them? They didn't believe him too much, but still carried hope. Realm tomb. Fourth elder said. Everyone became shocked. This name made their imaginations run wild. Have to increase your strength and overtake the others, cannot be overtaken by the other two academies. Fourth elder said. The other two academies. Everyone was greatly alarmed. Correct, Sacred Academy and Immortal Academy. Fourth elder said. Sacred Academy, Immortal Academy, these two weren't too unfamiliar for Shahao, Qingyi, and the rest. It was because when three great supreme beings came to the 3,000 provinces to choose people, they had previously mentioned that only the most powerful heroes could join Heavenly Deity Institution, Sacred Academy, or Immortal Academy. Only, later on, only Heavenly Deity Institution was mentioned, the other two no longer brought up, and they all came to Heavenly Deity Institution as well. As for the people of the other lands, some weren't aware of this at all, some had heard some rumors. Their reactions were all different. There are some among you who have heard about this before, knowing a bit. Fourth elder narrowed his eyes. Must ask elder to explain. Our understandings towards the two academies are extremely limited. One person replied. It seems like you all only know a bit. However, please speak about what you do know. Fourth elder said with a smile. I have previously heard that those two academies are a bit special, not any normal person able to enter. The disciple selection is extremely strict, and everything is done in almost complete secrecy. Princess Yao Yu said. Worthy of being someone from a long-life imperial court, understanding a bit more. Fourth elder nodded. Those two academies might be extremely unfamiliar for the others, but for the ancient families of the 9 heavens 10 earths, it wasn't all that much of a secret. The two academies are as old as the world, existing for an endless amount of time, only, they had always remained in a dormant state. Are the people inside finally going to come out into the world? Princess Yao Yu added. These words left everyone shocked, all of their imaginations starting to run wild. Those two academies' backgrounds were actually this great. Even Shahao, Yu Chan, and the others who came from the 3,000 provinces, who had heard these two academies' names felt greatly shocked. This was a bit different from what they previously knew. They had previously thought that this was a newly established academy, never expecting the two academies to be so ancient, to exist for such a long time. There were some who had similar thoughts, and some who couldn't help but ask, there are these types of hidden academies. Why haven't they appeared after all this time? The two academies can be said to be hidden in the world, but it wouldn't be wrong to call them newly built either. Fourth elder said. It was because if they called it hidden in the world, then that was correct, as it had existed since ancient times. However, for the outside world, few people knew about it. Only after it opened up once more did some people hear about them, and when news of their existence was released, it was still merely news of them being established for the first time. Everyone was shocked as the elder slowly explained. The two academies normally didn't accept outer world disciples, all of them the disciples of a few ancient monsters from the 9 heavens 9 earths, extremely exclusive, cut off from the rest of the world. The so-called old freaks refers to those like us who have remained in seclusion this entire time, some even our seniors. Fourth elder said. What? Everyone immediately became shocked, because this piece of information was just too shocking. One had to understand that the elders of Heavenly Deity Institution were all great figures who were withdrawn from the world, any one of them able to enjoy an extremely great status, if they emerged from seclusion, making great powers feel restraining fear. The two academies' disciples were those types of older generation's successors. These news were just too shocking. Immortal Academy is the most ancient, rumored to have some old freaks, who are known to be the same age as this great era, terrifyingly great, backgrounds ridiculously high. We have only heard about them, never met them before. Fourth elder said with a sigh. Immortal Academy, as the name implied, was related to immortals. They gathered quite a few methods from the last great era, teaching disciples the immortal path. Only, as for whether or not someone reached the end of this path, reaching the greatest peak, no one was sure. After all, times had changed, this heaven and earth no longer suitable for becoming an immortal. Sacred Academy was established a bit later, but it was still incomparably glorious. Based on Fourth Elder's words, it was a place of exceptional heroes. Ordinary heroic talents didn't have the qualifications to enter at all, or else it would be an embarrassment for that academy. This made the people who heard this feel uncomfortable. After all, everyone here were geniuses, all outstanding talents from their respective regions. Do you all know where the Present World Methods Holy Land is? Fourth Elder then mentioned Present World Methods, because not long ago, Heavenly Deity Institution had them make a choice. One group of people cultivated ancient methods, which was precisely this group, while the other went to cultivate present world methods. Fourth Elder sighed and said, to break past the barrier, take a step further in heavenly passage, formation arrangement, and other cultivation realms, to take a step past the highest level of enlightenment, truly transcend, this is the objective of Sacred Academy. The students there are all exceptional individuals, all of them walking the path of ultimate advancement, cultivating the present world methods. Everyone sucked in a cold breath of air. That place was not ordinary after all, the place where the extreme path was established, the place where those who had great achievements with present world methods gathered. People like those had the qualifications to be arrogant, far exceeding ordinary people. For other talents to enter, it really might be a type of blasphemy to their reputation. When Wang Shi heard this, her eyes released brilliance, unknown as to what she was thinking. Princess Yao Yu was extremely sharp, seizing the flash of expression. With a smile, she said, I heard that the one you have some connection with is precisely cultivating there, moreover his cultivation realm ridiculously high, known as an exceptional heavenly talent. When the others heard this, their expressions all became a bit strange. It was because recently, they already learned that the Wang family might become connected to another ancient family through marriage. Meanwhile, that family had an expert who was incredibly mysterious, his strength above the 9 heavens, only that they had no idea where he was. Now, it seemed like that person might very well be in Sacred Academy. Immortal Academy cultivates the ancient methods, while Sacred Academy the present, both sides background and history profound. Powerful experts will emerge in large numbers, the disciples of both unimaginable individuals. Fourth Elder said seriously. It was because the disciples there weren't recruited from outside, but rather the exclusive disciples of old freaks, all of them heaven-warping heroes hidden from the rest of the world. When he spoke up to hear, he looked at exiled Immortal, just feeling like this youngster seemed to have obtained an old freak's inheritance, related to an ancient existence. The two academies do not have many disciples, but every single one of them are heavenly talents. Soon, there might be an exchange carried out with my heavenly deity institution. I hope you all do not disappoint us at that time. Fourth Elder said with a sigh. He didn't feel much confidence. Even though they recruited a group of stunning individuals, those two academies were too mysterious. Who knew what kind of monsters the disciples those old freaks found were like? It was because those old freaks had always been carrying out all types of tests, some of them even searching for disciples in revived immortal ancient remains. There were others who experimented with other things, for example, making disciples who had unmatched magical force explode while still alive, breaking all types of shackles, having them cultivate again from the beginning, all of this purely for the sake of transcending above. These methods were all extremely extreme. Just hearing about them made everyone shiver inwardly. It was rumored that there really were successful examples. When we carry out the exchange in the near future, I hope you all can give it your all, to try your hardest. Fourth Elder said. He was clearly somewhat conflicted, not wishing to be suppressed by both sides. Elder, do not worry. When the time comes, we will definitely be able to defeat the disciples from the two academies. Someone said with great confidence. When Fourth Elder heard this, his face immediately darkened, clearly not approving of this type of blind arrogance. Just strive your hardest, he said. Then, after thinking for a bit, he added, if you all are stunning enough, Those who cultivate the ancient methods might be brought away by Immortal Academy's old freaks. Those who cultivate the present world methods might be able to enter Sacred Academy. Everyone was stunned, and then a great commotion erupted. Everyone now understood a bit. The two academies were coming here to choose the most elite disciples. No wonder Fourth Elder's expression was a bit off, feeling a bit unwilling to accept this. Turns out this was what he had been preoccupied with. Everyone immediately began to discuss among themselves, this place becoming a bit noisy. It was clear that the two academies were extremely powerful, above Heavenly Deity institution, actually directly choosing disciples like this. Everyone sensed that these old freaks really were formidable, making even Heavenly Deity institution's elders feel restraining fear. Are the great seniors there extremely strong? Lu Tuo asked. Is a great elder formidable or not? There are more than just one or two of these types of people there. Fourth elder said. How strong are their disciples? This was the question that they cared about the most. None of them were willing to give in. As for how strong their current disciples are, I do not know. However, there might be one person you all are familiar with. Fourth elder said. Who? They were shocked. Yuan Qing. Fourth elder said. While the others were in shock, their expressions were still normal. Meanwhile, Shahao's brows stood on end. He hated this person bitterly. When he arrived in immeasurable heaven, Yuan Qing had previously taken action to suppress him for 10 years, in the end even practically killed him, banishing him to Origin Ancient Mine to cut short his cultivation journey. Even though it was someone from the Wind Clan, who had previously requested for him to do this, it was still hateful. Yuan Qing Great One is naturally extremely powerful, rumored to already be a supreme being. I heard that he is just a single step away from the supreme being domain, but despite this, he is still world-shocking enough. A few people commented. If I said that Yuan Qing is merely a disciple both academies abandoned, would you all believe this? Fourth elder released a deep sigh as he spoke. What? Yuan Qing Great One couldn't even meet the requirements to become one of their disciples. Everyone was shocked. Correct. In the past, Yuan Qing couldn't pass the academy's assessment, and was thus kicked out. Fourth elder replied in a serious manner. This place erupted with noise. Even someone as powerful as Yuan Qing was an abandoned disciple from the two academies. This was just too shocking. Of course, even though he was abandoned, the two academies weren't too ruthless, still granting him many Dao books, to the extent where when some of the old freaks left their seclusion, they would also give him some pointers, which is why he has his accomplishments today. When speaking these things, Fourth Elder looked towards Shahao, clearly reminding him that Yuan Qing wasn't easy to provoke, that he still had some connection to the two academies even now, related to some old freaks. Yuan Qing, a name that had always made Shahao feel extremely uncomfortable, actually came from the two academies. Shahao finally understood why after Yuan Qing did that type of thing, he could still send his own descendant into Heavenly Deity institution, moreover have him become an official disciple. Turns out it was actually because of this, his origins astonishing. In the cultivation that followed, everyone couldn't help but feel shocked. Qingyi's cultivation speed was just too fast. Wherever the green moon passed, the great Tao true meanings contained within those characters would be comprehended by her. Naturally suited to cultivate immortal ancient methods. Fourth elder released a sigh of astonishment. This type of accomplishment really drew attention, difficult to ignore even if they wanted to. During this period of time, Yu Chan didn't speak a word, following behind. Her entire body shone, white clothes spotless, becoming more and more pure and holy. Shahao knew that she might have also obtained tremendous benefits, because she and Qingyi were one body divided into two, able to sense everything about the other party, the same person. This was especially the case when they were so close, the two not having many secrets to speak of, basically the same person. That was why the characters Qingyi grasped, she also fully comprehended. Isn't this someone from the lower realm? Actually this powerful? Many people revealed looks of surprise, looking at Qingyi with shock. In the 9 heavens 10 earths, the 9 heavens were high above, while the 3,000 Dao provinces were just part of the 10 earths, which was why they were called the lower realm, indicating that the 9 heavens were above them. Of course, this was merely something those of the 9 heavens liked to say, not the true saying. After this day, the number of people who took notice of Qingyi became more and more numerous, even some elders from the academy coming, silently watching, brows furrowed in contemplation. A few people, through ancient records, as well as asking around in the 3,000 Dao provinces, finally confirmed that the green flame was the flame seed fairy Qingyu from the last great era left behind after she died. Formidable, this woman's accomplishments cannot be measured. Don't look at her single strand of immortal energy, there is definitely other immortal energy in that green moon, enough as compensation. When these news began to spread around, more people began to become moved. First, it was a few females that approached Qingyi, hoping to develop better relations with her. Then, a few young men also began to move, all the outstanding talents of a clan. They approached her, displaying excessively graceful bearing, clearly carrying ulterior motives. This woman has to be roped into a family, in the future, it might be a tremendous opportunity. This was something an ancient family's clan elder personally passed down. This was definitely not the only example. In the month to come, there were many families that took action. This was no exception for those from long-life families, for example, Wang Shi's family, Princess Yao Yu's family, the great power behind Lutuo, and others who seriously told their clan's disciples that they had to rope in Qingyi. Why? Could it be that she has even more potential than those with 3 strands of immortal energy? Like repels like, a few young ladies were unconvinced, feeling extremely unsatisfied towards the others trying to rope in a lower realm woman like this. As for the young men, they didn't feel this way, because Qingyi possessed a country-toppling appearance, a peerless beauty, her appearance enough to move hearts to begin with. There were people who lusted after her beauty for a while already. All of you, remember, any one of you who can rope her into our side, it is the same as obtaining an immortal ancient treasury, the value immeasurable. A long-life family elder secretly told the disciples, expression incomparably serious as he said, that flame is the flame seed left behind by the fairy Qingyu, and it seems to clearly carry great secrets. That female immortal's various ultimate secrets might even be stored within. What? Must ask clan elder to explain. When they heard this piece of news, many of them couldn't help but gasp. There has always been a legend regarding fairy Qingyu. Fairy Qingyu's talent shocked all of immortal ancient. She had always been researching undying methods, carrying out many different types of tests, good friends with 6 Tao reincarnations Immortal King and without end Immortal King, previously receiving much enlightenment from them. It was rumored that she wanted to cultivate a type of tribulation crossing method, so that even if the great era was destroyed, heaven and earth collapsed, herself even no longer in this world, she can still come back one day and come out alive in this world. This was something few knew about, even more so a type of legend. In the past, no one treated this like anything important, but now that they saw this green lunar flame that was different from the other flames, learning that she left behind a flame seed, they immediately found it hard to sit still. Now that the green moon appeared, a few ancient families were naturally stirred. If anyone has the skill to recruit Qingyi into the sect, then we can consider giving him the next clan elder position. This was the decision a rather extreme family's clan elder came to, doing this to encourage their disciples. Even though the other families didn't directly claim to give out a reward, they still hinted that as long as they could pull close the relationship between themselves and Qingyi, their statuses in the clan would be greatly increased. The reason why they did this, not daring to press too closely, was because they were worried. If the true fairy Qingyu returned to this world and saw that others set their plans on her, disrespecting her like this, then she would definitely take action and destroy a long-life family. Shahao revealed a look of surprise, also hearing some rumors. When he thought of the gratitudes and grudges between Qingyi and Yu Chan, he became a bit nervous. Don't tell me he might still provoke fairy Qingyu. It had to be said that those ancient families were shockingly powerful. Soon after, they directly learned of Qingyi and Yu Chan's relationship, the two actually one person divided. This left many of them shocked. One had to understand that both of them cultivated a strand of immortal energy. If they merged together one day, then that wouldn't be a single addition, instead becoming even stronger. Together with the immortal energy in the green lunar flame, her accomplishments would be immeasurable. Forget about the legend of fairy Qingyu, just this exceptionally beautiful young lady alone already had immeasurable future accomplishments. She was definitely going to become an astonishing and terrifying individual. On the White Jade Mountain, millions of characters shone throughout the night, glistening and bright. An entire month had passed already, everyone cultivating here, studying seriously. That day, Fourth Elder used great magical force to move over a stone mountain. It dropped onto the ruins under rumbling sounds. Everyone turned their heads around, all of them revealing strange expressions. It was because this mountain's shape was extremely different, quite similar to a furnace, only, it was a bit damaged, some areas broken. Revive. Under fourth elder's activation, streak after streak of divine light entered the stone mountain, making it tremble slightly. There seemed to be a furnace flame that appeared below, burning the mountain. Then, strand after strand of immortal energy appeared, seeping out from the cracks in the mountain body, moreover accompanied by sweet fragrance. Elder, what is this? This is a pill refinement furnace that has been passed down since immortal ancient, something we excavated from an immortal cave. Even though it isn't an unmatched precious artifact, it has indeed refined immortal pills, possessing astonishing medicinal characteristics. Fourth elder explained. Elder, why did you bring it over? Someone asked. Everyone's minds moved. After all these years had passed, could there still be divine medicine inside of this stone furnace? You all guessed correctly. The stone furnace has many ashes, within it indeed some immortal pills, precisely an extremely important vessel cleansing pill extremely important to cultivating immortal ancient methods. When one uses it to sort out the flesh, it will become easier to cultivate immortal ancient methods. Fourth elder said. This triggered a wave of discussions. Everyone revealed looks of excitement. After all, the world's general environment had changed, the difficulty of cultivating immortal ancient methods too great. If they had this type of divine pills, then it would naturally lessen the hydrants. The pill medicines are limited, everything will be fought for through strength. Fourth elder added. This sentence alone immediately triggered a tense atmosphere. Everyone separated from each other, treating each other with hostility. Moreover, someone immediately rushed into the air, heading towards that stone mountain, wishing to obtain a pill from the furnace. Fourth elder nodded, expressing praise. A single fist smashed out. 10 Crown King took action, displaying the dragon fist, domineering and unmatched. Even from quite far away, the true dragons formed from the 3 strands of immortal energy winded about, flying outwards, directly smashing that person until he coughed out large amounts of blood, his body smashing into the stone mountain. 10 Crown King then soared up, rushing towards the top of the stone furnace. Shahao naturally also leapt out, arriving by the mountain entrance. This pill furnace was extremely massive, made entirely out of stone. At the furnace opening, white mists surged, a fragrance wafting out. It was precisely here that several great experts competed, fighting a great battle. There was temporarily no one who could go inside, because anyone who dared to try seize them would become the target of everyone's attacks. 10 Crown King, Wang Shi, Lu Tuo, exiled immortal, Yao Yu, Xian Kuan, and the others were the first to confront each other. They then took action, fighting an intense battle. Right now, no one could break the balance. When Shahao arrived, the others revealed strange expressions. They looked at each other, as if they had already discussed with each other beforehand. Mo Dao, open up the way. Shahao said. Mo Dao had always followed him at his side. This was a supreme being with 3 strands of immortal energy who followed him. Mo Dao took action, slaughtering his way into the pill furnace. Stop him. The other great supreme experts naturally couldn't just watch as they rushed in. They began to take action against Mo Dao. Shahao had his arms behind his back. He came afterwards, not immediately taking action, because there were several great experts who were watching him carefully, stopping Mo Dao while staring at him. Fairy Qingyi, this way please. Lu Tuo spoke, because at this time, Qingyi also came, standing at the opening of the pill furnace. Her white clothes fluttered about, as if she was going to ride the wind. Qingyi, we should enter together. Shahao smiled, speaking out to her. I've heard that this brother's magical force is exquisite, your cultivation profound, but I've never had the chance to exchange pointers. Why don't we compare a bit here? Someone on the other side spoke. It was clear that there were people who wished to challenge Shahao. Ever since he came back, his display had always been quite mysterious. Everyone knew that he was formidable, his Dao methods exceptional, but there were too many mysteries. They didn't know the extent of his strength. It was because everything that was related to his strength were just guesses thus far. For example, there were those who said that he killed 3-headed king, and others who said he killed the void beast, but they didn't obtain proof for either one of these events. There were some who couldn't hold back any longer, wishing to size him up in heavenly deity institution. Mo Dao, come back, get rid of him for me. Shahao said, his voice frivolous, not attaching much importance to this person at all. You are too arrogant. The one I am challenging is you, why are you making someone fight instead of you? That person shouted. He wore a violet gold hat on his head, the artifact unordinary. This was quite the large and tall young man. Just a trifling 2 strands of immortal energy, yet you think it's worth challenging me? My servant even has 3 strands of immortal energy. If you want to fight against me, wait after you cultivate for another 500 years first. Shahao mocked. He knew that this person definitely had an expert on the level of Wang Shi or Lu Tuo behind him who had him go up to test things first. Otherwise, why would someone with 2 strands of immortal energy dare take action? People had faces and trees had bark. When he was mocked like this in front of everyone by Shahao like this, his face was originally like jade, but now, it was red-purple. He rushed over with a heavenly spear, shouting, "You are a coward, only knowing how to hide behind others, making a foreign expert take action, while you yourself aren't worth anything. If you have the skills, then come." Exactly. What kind of skill is this? Using treacherous methods to accept a servant, not real skill at all. If you have the strength, then come and fight, you'll definitely be suppressed. There were people who shouted along behind, clearly mocking Shahao, trying to force him to take action. Just a group of ants, what qualifications do you all have to be so noisy? Mo Dao, what are you hesitating for? Hurry up and take action, knock them all down below my feet. Shahao said coldly. Towards this type of provocation from people who weren't worth fighting himself, he didn't budge, still having Mo Dao take action. Mo Dao returned, rushing over from the stone furnace entrance. He stood on the mountain, which was also the stone furnace's body. White clothes fluttered about, hair fluttering about, his eyes like lightning. He released a type of astonishing aura, making the hearts of those on the other side pound nervously. Mo Dao, as a foreign expert who cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy, known as the supreme being of a generation, how can you be willing to become the servant of someone weaker than you? If I was you, I would have directly killed him. However, I have also heard that you are restricted through some type of method, giving a demonic artifact that could nurture the soul to him, thus losing your freedom. If you feel any misgivings, we can help you deal with him. The young man, who wore the violet gold hat and had a handsome face, said. He raised the sharp heavenly spear in his hands. Everyone knew that these weren't sincere words, but rather just some stimulation to see the other party's reaction. It was also to help the one behind him, or several individuals behind him, feel out whether Shahao really did kill the 3-headed king. With a raise of Mo Dao's palm, several dozen ancient characters shone, every one of them releasing metallic sounds, bright and dazzling as they flew over. This was precisely the method he comprehended on the White Jade Mountain. As a result, several dozen flame phoenixes released a cry, rising into the air. Those characters formed scarlet red phoenixes, their magnificent wings long, the feathers brightly colored, their beauty carrying a type of holiness. Phoenixes were dancing in the 9 heavens. Moreover, they all carried wisps of immortal, released by the immortal energy Mo Dao cultivated. They immediately erupted. The male on the other side shouted, the bone mirror in his hands extremely glossy, starting to shine like a silver sun, also producing several dozen fiery red phoenixes. Clear bright mirror. Everyone was shocked. This mirror had an extremely rich history, able to hold the enemy's attacks inside the mirror, and then release it again to send the attack right back. However, the one in history was an immortal mirror, powerful to a ridiculous degree, its power immeasurable. It had long disappeared for many years, rumored to have shattered during the Battle of Immortal Ancient. This mirror before them was clearly an imitation, but it was still shocking enough. How could a normal imitation block the attack of immortal energy? The dozens of fiery-colored phoenixes Mo Dao displayed grew dim, disappearing from that place, in the end all appearing in that bone mirror, being recreated inside. Kill. The male who wore the violet gold hat released a short shout. He activated the precious mirror in his hands, and as a result, released brilliant radiance. Several dozen flame phoenixes rushed out, turning into scarlet multicolored light. They carried sky overflowing flames, throwing themselves at Mo Dao. This type of scenery left one stupefied. There were actually these types of methods. One had to understand that he was only someone who cultivated 2 strands of immortal energy, yet he was challenging a young supreme being, defending and attacking, not in all that sorry of a state. Shahao released a cold laugh. No wonder the other party dared challenge him, turns out they had something to rely on. The one behind them gave him a precious mirror, this weapon originally supposedly used to test Shahao. Mo Dao's gaze was as cold as lightning. His hands formed imprints, releasing sword radiance one after another, destroying the dozens of divine birds he released himself. Blood dyed the skies, and then they turned into symbol light. Afterwards, he lowered his body and rushed out, not displaying precious methods, but rather closing the distance to fight in close combat. The male who wore the violet gold hat released a shout. The precious mirror in his hands was continuously activated, the surface of the mirror shining. Large amounts of light shone from within, forming several dozen golden crows. Not only could it dower the other party's precious techniques, it could release attacks itself as well, because it was originally carved from the divine bones of a golden crow, refined into a mirror. However, because of the material not being from a supreme being level golden crow, its bloodline not strong enough, the amount of power this bone mirror could display was limited, difficult for it to injure Mo Dao. In fact, when these dozens of golden crows flew out, they couldn't injure Mo Dao at all. A layer of blinding radiance flowed about the outside of his body like liquid, protecting him. When the distance was closed, Mo Dao hacked out with his palm, 3 strands of immortal energy wrapped around his palm and fingers. That person used the precious mirror to protect himself, however. A cracking sound could immediately be heard, the mirror shattering. Right at this moment, a shocking change happened. A short blade flew out from the bone mirror, turning into sharp divine radiance, hacking at Mo Dao. It was too fast, like a sky-shocking divine rainbow. At the same time, someone else took action, rushing murderously at Shahao. This was a bronze person, a type of secret treasure, and could also be considered a type of battle tool. Someone couldn't help but want to test out Shahao, not taking action himself, but instead secretly activating a humanoid precious artifact. This artifact can also be considered a type of puppet. This precious artifact was extremely unordinary, within it stored all types of divine materials, refined countless times. Do you dare fight? At this time, 4 creatures jumped out at the same time, rushing over. They all held secret treasures, wishing to size up his strength. Not far out, Mo Dao was angered. The other party always relied on precious artifacts, challenging his supreme being dignity. He took action with full power, palms and fingers shining. With a sharp weapon in hand, he cut through the short sword, and then chopped the violet gold hat male in half at the waist, blood dyeing the skies. It could be said that regardless of whether it was the clear bright mirror imitation, or that short sword, they were both quite unordinary, at the very least able to endure the vicious attacks of 3 strands of immortal energy several times. However, they were both immediately destroyed. Mo Dao held a sharp weapon in his hand that was similar to a dragon snake, nothing it couldn't hack through. It wasn't for the misgiving he felt towards Heavenly Deity Institution, he would have killed this person right here. That person was sliced apart at the waist, the 2 halves of his body dropping onto the mountain, the pain difficult to endure. Mo Dao returned, rushing at the bronze puppet, about to fight against it. Forget it, I'll take care of it myself, or else there'll always be others who just won't give up. Shahao released a cold laugh, walking forward. His body shone slightly, supporting the single heavenly passage. Because it was tightly sticking to his body, the heavenly passage form couldn't be seen, but instead looked like armor that covered him. He raised his fist, smashing outwards, fighting the bronze puppet head-on. An ear-piercing sound rang out. This thing was incredibly sturdy, within it a bit of immortal gold, a bit similar to the diamond band, the value astonishing. Everyone was moved. Worthy of the reputation of a body cultivator, actually fighting this type of war artifact head-on. The bronze individual's arm caved in, unable to stop the power of his fist. The scene was horrifying. However, the people in the background wanted to know the extent of Shahao's magical force, because they were long aware that he was an innate body cultivator, clearly understanding that his flesh was incomparable. That was why several cultivators rushed up, every one of them shouting, releasing resplendent screens of light, all of them displaying precious techniques, also activating the secret treasures long life families gave them. Of these creatures, there was an archaic barbaric ox, flying centipede, 3-headed lion king, and silver tortoise, all of them powerful species. Even though they were in human form right now, they still carried some characteristics of their species. At this moment, Shahao turned into a golden divine arrow, the speed of his flesh just too fast, blasting through the void, attacking that barbaric ox above, fighting against that heavenly centipede below, facing that lion king to the right, taking on the silver tortoise on his left. First, it was their precious artifacts that broke. Even though they were things from long life families, under continuously collisions, they still exploded. That bronze person was even more so torn to pieces by Shahao's bare hands. Too terrifying, a humanoid prehistoric vicious beast. Someone cried out in alarm. This fella was ridiculously strong, his flesh alone enough to destroy all precious artifacts, simply unstoppable. Then, the barbaric ox neck was twisted in his hands, blood gushing out, the heavenly centipede was broken to pieces, the Lion King sent flying by a single kick, half its body turning into a bloody paste, the silver tortoise's shell exploding, a bloody hole even more so appearing in his body. Everyone was stunned. This was just too fast, ending the battle in that short instant. They all still wanted to see the extent of his cultivation, yet he completely eliminated these people with his physical strength, not using any precious techniques at all. That violet gold hat male with unordinary strength had his body cut up. Right now, he had just restored his body, just stood up, yet Shahao's foot crushed down from the air, smashing down on his chest, making his body break apart inch by inch. Apart from his head, his entire body was turned into a bloody mist. He released a miserable cry. Using these types of items to test me, far from enough. Shahao said coldly, looking at the other party. Brother is formidable after all. Having this type of methods, there is no way you are an unnamed character. We wish to see your true body. Finally, those young supreme beings with 3 strands of immortal energy couldn't sit still, all of them stepping on the void, pressing over together. Part 1 end here.